The warning light on the security scanner blinked a harsh red, refusing to let Nora into the office she had built with her own sweat. There was no welcoming beep, just the silent rejection of a plastic card she had carried for over a decade. The young guard at the desk, clearly out of his depth, shuffled some papers and mumbled about system updates. Nora simply offered him a polite smile and turned away without a single word. Inside her old cubicle, a fading yellow sticky note still clung to the side of her computer monitor, telling her to keep pushing forward. She had scribbled that note during a brutal system crash back in the winter of 2018. She remembered sleeping on the floor of the server room, surviving on stale chips while manually rebuilding the core databases. Nobody in the current leadership team remembered that night or her dedication. Before she had even brushed her teeth that morning, Nora had remotely patched a critical memory leak that had been quietly throttling customer dashboards. The new division head, a man named Sterling who preferred wearing branded hoodies to understanding actual infrastructure, had not even noticed the slowdown. Nora solved it in 10 minutes, logged the fix in a quiet repository, and packed her usual lunch for the day. She drove to the office with her favorite ceramic mug, still holding on to the faint hope that someone might appreciate her hard work. By the way, if you are enjoying this story of corporate reckoning, please take a second to subscribe to the channel. It is completely free, supports our team, and ensures you do not miss our next narrative. Now let us get back to the moment everything began to unravel. By 8:30, Nora had already cleared the system queue and flagged several poorly written database queries from the night shift. She was quietly eating her lunch at her desk when a calendar invitation popped up for an urgent meeting in the main boardroom. The invite did not even address her by name, listing her only as legacy staff. She walked down the glass hallway on the dot, ready for whatever corporate theater Sterling had prepared. Sterling was leaning against the polished conference table, looking like a man who spent more time practicing his posture in mirrors than reading technical documentation. He did not offer her a seat, nor did he look her in the eye as he began his carefully rehearsed speech. He spoke about strategic restructuring, optimizing operational costs, and moving toward a more agile team structure. Nora listened to the empty buzzwords, realizing she was just a budget line. He slid a neat white envelope across the glass table toward her, his hand trembling slightly despite his confident tone. Nora opened the letter, scanned the clinical termination language, and focused entirely on the signature at the bottom of the page. Sterling Vance, Managing Director. She slid the paper back inside, gave him a brief nod, and told him she understood the situation perfectly. Sterling blinked in surprise, expecting tears or anger. The human resources representative stood by the door, looking incredibly uncomfortable as she prepared to escort Nora out of the building. Nora calmly gathered her coat, leaving behind the server keys she had carried for 15 years without looking back once. In the elevator, she caught her reflection in the polished metal doors and did not see a victim. Instead, she saw a woman who finally had the perfect opportunity to reclaim her power. By 9:15, Nora was sitting at her kitchen table, far away from the sterile fluorescent lights of her former office. She opened a sleek, unmarked black laptop that had never been connected to the company network or registered with their security team. She logged into a secure administrative portal that existed entirely outside of their corporate infrastructure. With a few deliberate keystrokes, she prepared a formal notice of license revocation. The legal office of her longtime advisor, Arthur Vance, smelled of old paper, leather-bound books, and decades of quiet determination. Nora watched the old attorney carefully review the original software agreement she had drafted when the partnership first began. Underneath all the standard corporate jargon lay a specific protective clause they had hidden deep within the contract terms. The clause stated that the software license would immediately terminate if she was dismissed. Arthur looked up from the documents, a slow, knowing smile spreading across his face as he tapped the signature page. He confirmed that the company had precisely 48 hours to rectify the breach before the entire system went completely dark. Nora took a slow sip of her tea, feeling the weight of years of underappreciated labor finally lifting. She signed her legal name, Nora Brooks, on the activation notice, starting the countdown. Early the next morning, Nora enjoyed the quiet stillness of her garden, watching the sunrise paint the sky in soft shades of orange. She felt no anxiety about the storm she was about to unleash on the people who had dismissed her so casually. At exactly 9 o'clock, Arthur sent the official legal warning to the corporate headquarters, detailing the immediate license suspension. Nora hit the final button, sending the shut-off command. The corporate boardroom quickly turned into a scene of absolute chaos as Sterling slammed the legal notice onto the table. He demanded to know who Nora Brooks was, completely unaware that the quiet engineer he fired was the actual owner of their core technology. The legal team scrambled through old files, their faces growing increasingly pale as they realized the gravity of their mistake. They had no backup systems to bypass her protocols. By Thursday afternoon, the platform began to show serious signs of strain, throwing errors across major client accounts. The engineering team tried desperately to patch the system, but every attempt was blocked by Nora's master encryption keys. Sterling ordered his developers to bypass the lockouts, only to be told that the entire framework was hard-coded to her unique credentials. They could not rewrite the software without completely destroying the database structure. Nora spent her afternoon at a quiet local cafe, enjoying a book while her private monitor tracked the system's rapid decline. She received several desperate phone calls from Sterling, which she promptly ignored, letting them go straight to voicemail. His messages shifted rapidly from forced friendliness to angry threats, before finally dissolving into desperate pleas for a compromise. Nora simply forwarded the recordings to her lawyer, refusing to engage in their frantic attempts. By Friday morning, several of the company's largest clients had already paused their contracts, citing system instability and security concerns. The corporate board met in an emergency session, quickly deciding that Sterling's reckless decisions had put the entire firm at risk. Before the business day ended, Sterling was quietly stripped of his authority, leaving the company in complete disarray. Meanwhile, Nora was already signing the lease on a beautiful new office space. As she walked into her new office, Nora felt a deep sense of peace, looking out at the city skyline through the large windows. The gold lettering on the glass door simply read Brooks Insights, marking the start of a chapter written entirely on her own terms. She had spent 15 years building someone else's dream in the shadows, but she would never be invisible again. The lights had gone out on the people who underestimated her. Nora was finally stepping into the warmth of her own success. If you want to see how other corrupt managers get their comeuppance, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We have got plenty of stories coming that will make your old boss spill their coffee in pure panic. Thank you for listening to this tale of quiet, brilliant revenge, and we will see you in the next video.